So what we're doing today is starting on the fuel system. So we've obviously got our airflow fuel pump, 14 psi, 110 litres per hour sort of thing. Got a 3/8 fitting and dash 8 fitting, because obviously on the tank it's got a barb fitting, so we're just going to run barb to barb with a rubber hose. We've got our fuel filter, so it's just going to screw on the end like that. And then we're going to make a bracket and mount it there. And then run a hose from there to there. So probably set up like that, as low as possible obviously. Yeah, so it'll sit like that. Then we've got our dash 8 PDFE hose to run all the way to the back, from the back of the car to the front. We don't need that. We've got a bulkhead, so we can run that through the firewall. Keep it nice and tidy. So what we'll do now is we'll get that pump mounted and get a bit of rubber hose from the tank to the pump, and then start feeding the fuel line to the firewall. So obviously the fuel line can go through the car, cable tight there, and it's going to run a bulkhead, probably up there sort of thing, wait and see. And then we've got a regulator, it's a Holly rig, some fittings, probably mount that somewhere, probably over here or somewhere, out of the way, down there. And then all we have to do is make a fuel line from there to the carby. So we've just got our carby today, so we've ordered a brand new 780 quick fuel, so we'll show you guys that. Excuse the messy shed, but a lot of crap going on. All these things that need fixed. Yeah, so we've got a whole heap of new fittings and stuff for the Skyline today. So new dash 10 fuel filter, dash 10 hose, all the flash stuff. So this is our new quick fuel. Box open. So that's it there. We've got a airflow fuel rail on it to a dash 8. So yeah, get rid of the old choke on it. So it's a double metering block obviously. 780 double pumper. Vacuum secondary, because it's obviously automatic, so run vacuum secondaries, don't need the choke. Yeah, double metering block, as I said, so we'll be able to get it tuned up nice and good. Yeah, so should look good on there. So what we'll get onto now is obviously the fuel system, get that pump mounted. So we've just got the fittings on there, so we've got the fuel line, so we'll cut that to length, obviously. Fuel filter on there and the fitting, so it's going to run through the car. So what we need to do now is mount the pump there, so if I give it an alloy and then mount that on there. And then we can start making then mount the bulkhead in the front of the car, and then make a fuel line between, easy. So what we're doing here is making our fuel line up, so we're obviously running Teflon hose. So we're running Teflon fittings, so that's the dash 8 AN. So what we do now is we'll video me chucking the ends on. So obviously the easiest way, I've already cut it, so a little bit more tape on it. Just sort of pull it in, pull the tail on it. Just makes it slide over easy. Like that. Pull that tape off. Obviously the other tape's still on there. So what we do now, we need to get some oil, put on the edges, just like that, and then push this over the plastic. So put it around like that, and then peel the tape off around the outside. Right there. Tapes off, get the old fitting, lube the oil up, lube the thread up and then the pin, and then press it on, get it through like that, and then bring our fitting up, and it's going to wind straight over like that. Pretty easy to do, easy as that. So all we do now is tighten it up, and our job is done. So what we do now is we tighten it up. I'm trying to find the alloy clamps for the vise, but I don't know where they're gone. Got a proper airflow one. I think it's still in the trailer actually. They haven't last time. So let's use these. soft alloy on alloy. You guys. Lines up. And that there's a successfully installed AM fitting on a 400 series line, whatever it is, line. So what we're going to do now is screw that in the car and work out where to put the other side. So what we've got done now is made a quick wee mount for the fuel pump. So just got the old bender out and bent up a wee 90 there and a wee 30 degree there. Got the old fuel filter on, started making fuel line up, so just gonna mount that now. So it just runs along here, gonna make some mounts, and then there's the bulkhead up there where it goes to through the firewall. So that's gonna come out like that. It's gonna go to the regulator. We can mount the regulator now. So yeah. So just like that, we've got the old regulator mounted down there. Got the hose there with the bulkhead. I was thinking about going down lower, but it'll be right. It's sort of tucked in there quite nicely. It'll look all good. Heaps of room for the motor. Yeah, so what I need to do is that fitting there to the carby now. So obviously it'll go over there. So it'll go from there all the way to the carby up there. So that'll be good. Obviously got the hose running through the car. All like that. So you get some clamps, some hose clamps put on there, and then that's that done. Then we can, obviously you've got to wire it up. So that's easy enough. So yeah, so got that there. So that straight fitting is the last one, and that'll go straight on the carb. Easy as that. So that's the fuel system pretty much all done. So what we've done here is we've cut both flanges off the headers so we can weld our V-bands on them. So what we'll do is we'll get it sitting in the car and then take the V-bands in place when it's sitting in there. What we're going to do actually is put this motor in and wire it up, plumb it up, and then fire it up, run it in. Obviously we've got a torque converter, so we're just doing everything we can to get it going by February. So we'll get it going, and then torque converter is going to be here January. So rip the trans out or the motor back out, slide it forward a bit, and put the torque in. So yeah, so what we've done is the headers. What we're going to do now is obviously plug these fittings up. We only need that one there for the water temperature. It's just got 3 extra ones. So got these Mk2 3/8 plugs. So we'll run 3 of them in there now, put some thread tape on them, and boom. So what we're doing now is ready to lift this engine in and mount it in. Again, jack her up, nice angle. Get rid of this table. So we've just got the motor all bolted in. Got the carby sitting on for the first time with the 2-inch spacer, the new 780 quick fuel. So fits in there nicely. Now we've notched the firewall. So we might have to end up cutting that out, but I don't really want to if I have to. But what we can do is probably run a single flower pot. Probably look pretty cool out the bonnet. When the carb is all adjusted up, it will be good to go and shouldn't have to touch it. So we've just got a nice airflow throttle bracket, so that just goes on there for the return spring nicely. Not done up top yet. And then the bracket for the throttle cable. So better get the throttle cable made up, and yeah, be pretty cool. So what we can do now is obviously make that fuel line to to the carby, breathers, to the rocket covers, and then the oil lines to the oil cooler, which we can mount, so it'll be that plumbed up. So we'll get on to that job there next. We've just made a fuel line up from the regulator to the carby. What we're going to do now is we've got a fitting there, so we can put a fuel pressure gauge in there so we can set the pressure on the rig. So what we'll do now is we'll open that up and just chuck that there on. So just like that, got the fuel pressure gauge on there, so we're going to aim for about 6 psi. Yeah, so our carby looks good on there. Just clears, so we run a flower pot out the bonnet, so it'll look pretty tough. So yeah, what we'll probably do now is start mounting the oil cooler and making the oil lines, and then making the breather lines from there to over there. So we'll get on to that next. So we've got the old new oil cooler, and we've clamped it in with our alloy clamp jaws, keep it sturdy. I've got some new dash 10 OLB to 12AN. So what we've done was lubed up the old O-ring so it doesn't bite when you do it up. So they just threw it in there nice like that. We've got a second one here. Like that. Make sure when you do these fittings up, you hold that, because if you turn that, it fucks the cooler straight away. So that's the biggest thing. So we'll do is we'll grab our aluminium soft jaw dash 12, it'll fit on there. Alright, it's a wee bit loose. We do 10S, 12B, too big. Try 12S, and then dash 10B for the bottom. No, might be old crescent. Oh, look what I found! Found the old soft jaws to make the fittings. I did not know they were in there. So what we'll do now is we'll get the old, we'll get a crescent, just to hold the bottom part. So we'll get a crescent there. And just sit that there down, film. Brush. So we'll stamp on there, and then just do that up front. Just frame like that. Same with that one. Just like that. Well done, we'll go mount the cooler. We've got our dash 12 hose. We're just making our oil fittings up, oil lines, hoses up for the oil cooler. So put lube on the threads and there. So it just presses in there. So I'm probably use 2 hands for this. The old camera down. Same as every other hose are done, but obviously it's quite tight. Put it on the hose itself. Camera back up, so a bit of oil in there. Need as much as possible. And then push it in like that. And screw it in. Just like that. And then dash 12, like that, on the dog in. A bit tight. And just like that, we've made oil cooler hoses, so it fits in there perfectly. Cut them to the exact length that I wanted, so it looks nice and tidy. So obviously you got your 245s off your filter sandwich plate. Dash 12 runs up there, one to the bottom, one to the top of the cooler, and then the radiator just tucks in there real nicely. So what we can do now is fit that radiator in there and start sorting out some bottom and top radiator hoses. All we need to do is put an oil filter on, and then put our oil pressure line on hose there to win the car, and then this thing's all plumbed up, ready to wind over, build some oil pressure up. So what we're going to do is obviously, I think it's a 3/8, put it on the drill, build some oil pressure up, get all the oil through all the galleries, and wire it up, fire into life. So what we're going to do after this job is start building the boom tubes at the side. So we've obviously got some 3-inch pipe over there, so some nice boom tubes at the side. And then after that we can get onto the diff, put the diff head in, because we've put the we put the mini spool in there, then put the axles in, no rear brakes, and then get on to wiring this puppy up. We've got the old radiator all mounted in there now. So what it did is it came through that way there, so I've taken that shroud out and bent the lip around the other way. So it mounts on the inside on that side and the outside on that side there, just to get enough clearance down there. So need a bit of foam around there sort of thing, seal it off a bit better. So yeah, so seal the bottom half of the radiator off, the top bit there, and then make a shroud for the back and a fan. So that'll sort that out. What we'll get onto now is getting some radiator hoses sorted. And yeah, so got the radiator in, top hose sorted, bottom hose down there is all sorted. So just put some clamps on there, it sits on there nice. So obviously when we pull the motor out for the next time, I'm going to make an aluminium shroud. So there's just bolts there, there and there. So that's easy, yeah, it's just a flat bit of alloy. And then cut a nice circle out on it, put the fan in it. And then yeah, so there's heaps of room for the fan. But put a big as possible fan on it. Well, that's probably 16, 18 inches diameter. So yeah, so what we can do now is start fabricating this boom tube exhaust system. So we'll get onto that next, and then we can start wiring this puppy up. So what we're going to do next is sort out this oil pressure gauge. So I've got an oil hose that's going to run from there to the inside of the car. So obviously we are going mechanical, simple and reliable. So we've got a nice all-star gauge and a mechanical water temp gauge in Fahrenheit. So we'll get this out of the packet and run that through the firewall, which will be a hole, I'd imagine, for both sensor wires, and we'll get them mounted. So we've just drilled some holes through the dash for our oil pressure and water temperature gauge. Here's the wiring loom for it, so I've extended the wires. They earth out on the chassis themselves. So, and we've got that, so it's the water temperature hose there, so we'll make a nice wee P-clip onto there, that'll hold that. And the oil pressure one that goes through there, put a nice wee grommet through the firewall. And obviously the oil pressure line runs down there. And then, just like that, the old gauge is mounted, so do the dash up, hold it in, put the steering column back up. So all good. There's our power wire. Set this there to go straight to power, and obviously the gauge is earth through the body. So yeah, so we can get onto wiring that car. We can put that to the ignition wire, so it just lights up straight away. So yeah, so what we can do now is going to get onto building these headers up. Catch can hose is made. So we've got AN12 hose. It's the old 2-litre catch can, so it should be big enough. There's obviously the long hose on that side. Obviously when we've got the motor on for the last time, we'll make some nice clamps up, clamp them together, make them a little bit nicer. We'll even run that up against that one, so they follow each other. We'll wait and see. So what we're going to do now is get on to making these boom tubes, get them made, and then we can start putting the throttle cable on. We'll do that next. And then hopefully, we're still waiting on this MSD, so then we can wire the engine up and start her into life for the first time. So she's getting pretty close now. So we've got a wee bit shorter oil filter there on there now. So it's a Land Cruiser one or a Jeep Cherokees. So what we're doing now before the dizzy in, we've obviously got it all plumbed up, so we're going to warm the oil pressure up. So I've got that 8 mil sitting in there, and we're going to sit this down and look at the gauge. So hopefully you guys can see that. I need a easier on the second person. Set it there, and you're going to see the oil pressure gauge there go up. Zoom in a wee bit. Right there. What I'm doing now is just do it by hand. The old rattle gun hasn't got enough torque to pump this thick oil through, so you should be able to see on there. If I just do it by hand, it should build up a wee bit of pressure. Go fast enough. So we've got into this exhaust system, so we've got the left hand side bank all tacked up, so can't really see much from up there, but see it out the side. So what we're going to do is obviously run another pipe out there. So it's pretty simple. Just a V-band to a 90 to a extension. So it's all tacked up. So just got to pull it off and weld it. So we'll make the other side up. We end up having to notch the chassis a wee bit. So we'll weld that in. Weld a wee C-notch in there. And yeah, it'll work out alright. So join us on our next video. We'll be wiring this engine up and then running it up for the first time and seeing what it sounds like.